right. This is a talk about how to tap your superpowers for aging well. And so if you have any clients who are elders or you personally have concerns about aging, or you're caretaking for an elderly parent, some of this might be helpful for you. So what we'll be reviewing in this talk is the superpowers that elders use to stay connected fully with life, even during challenging times. The superpowers elders possess are ones that all adults have and can use for living and dying well. So hopefully what we'll do is have a talk to in and then some discussion and engage in an exercise for tapping your superpowers to be great. But first, what I want to talk about is the ability to age with joy. And that is to first define aging, because many people define aging as growing old. And if you as a therapist especially have listened to clients like I have, sometimes it just amazes me that in response to a suggestion of undertaking an activity, and I'm not talking about flying over buildings, just an activity, I'll still get this head down and, oh, I'm just old. And the Western view of aging includes some very interesting assumptions. If you, I looked up using Webster's thesaurus, you know, and so the descriptions for aging include being more antique, more antiquated, more ancient, along with when you look up seniority, old age is defined as dotage and infirmity. Yes, old you just the term old is explained as aged. This is straight out of thesaurus. Aged, elderly, gray, past one's time, debilitated, infirm, inactive, deficient, enfeebled, decrepit, exhausted, tired, impaired, anemic, broken down, wasted, doddering, senile. And the
Mm,
modifiers that they put in there ended with on the shelf, gone to seed, and with one foot in the grave.
terrible.
The basic definition right up at the top was basically no longer vigorous and worn out. Now, this is blatantly untrue unless
Okay.
one chooses to be there. I mean, good grief. I've been reading examples of this guy he's still surfing in competition at 90. Okay.
Right. Mhm.
And this wonderful woman, she's passed, but she worked as a Forest Service officer, greeting guests and giving them tours of the park till she was 102.
Mhm. Oh
She
my
did
God.
not want to retire, and they let her continue to work. And this woman was amazing. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And but yet we've got a dictionary, a reference document. It's no wonder young people go, oh, well, and a lot of people have embraced it and believing it. So what we've got to do is challenge this definition. And instead of viewing ourselves as exceptions to aging, we're the norm. We're getting things done. All of us. Um, that you can age well and you can do it with very simple activities. And one of the most amazing simple activity, which health professionals now are talking about as the foundation for keeping going, taking a walk. And they aren't talking about miles, they're talking about taking a walk for 15 minutes,
Mhm.
just walking. Because of all the, and it was explained to me, but I can't give you all the medical terms. But it does the walking, you use a bunch of muscles that you don't use when sitting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's real important to do that. The other aspect that I think as therapists that we can provide, especially to elders, is to remind folks to be proud of every year lived. Each year, because age is a number, each one of those numbers that totals the whatever the age is represents experience, growth, and in many cases, for a lot of folks, hard work. Um, and even the mistakes created opportunities to grow more, to see differently, to reinvent from lessons learned. I mean, I used to, when I was a manager, tell employees, you show me someone who makes no mistakes, and I'll show you someone who isn't learning a thing.
That's for sure.
Okay? Um, that yeah, I used to coach and tell people that mistakes are gems because you can learn so much from them. Um, and the other exciting thing is that it takes courage to evolve. I'm going to try something new. Sherry knows it. I'm scared to death of all this technology, but here I am. Um, so if you tap into your own power, then you can try something new. You could go out and take a walk. You can listen with all the senses. So it's age is not something to be ashamed of. It's remembering that, especially after we cross a certain line, we have become the elderific. Uh, that we will continue to learn, and people keep learning until they die. It means that you continue forward into the world, and you do not have to let society or other groups define you. As an elder, it's important to be who you are so that no matter sort of what's coming at you and people telling you to stop or cannot, to keep going and try. I ought to have I should have downloaded it. The picture of that guy at 90 something. No, it was 88 and he was about getting ready to compete in his 90th year. And he was talking about how fun it was that he couldn't win anymore, but he could compete and his goal was just to be allowed to compete. And he pulled it off. It was amazing. Um, and the other fascinating thing is recognizing who's my body, what's my body. Medical doctors will tell you that the human body heals itself and it has amazing adaptability to do that regardless of age. Now, when you're older, it takes a bit longer sometimes to heal, but the body still does its thing if you will allow it. My personal story is I got thrown from an e-bike and pulled my rotator cuff. And the physician gave sort of this message, you let the body heal, and actually was shaking her finger at me and going, now, if it hurts, you stop doing that, whatever it is. And so sure enough, I'm wanting to write something, right? And I'm typing and it's hurting, right? But I remembered her voice. I could hear her, you'd stop. So I was like, oh, okay. So I stopped and it was amazing. In what, 3 months, my rotator cuff was almost complete. And in 4 months, it was completely healed. And many people, 6 months or more. and I'm in my 70s and it heals. So it's really listening to your body and allowing yourself to live as well as die well. My father-in-law is 98. He's getting ready, but and has a terminal condition. But this is funny, right? So he gets put on hospice. He's on terminal care, and the hospital wants to keep him in the hospital to give him, I forget what kind of medication. And he was like, "No, I'm going home." So he goes home, and because he's so happy to be at home, I kid you not, 3 days later, he's off of his oxygen. Now, this was a year ago. He's still going. Why? He's and my sister-in-law told me he called her up and asked her to come over and go through the entire house because he was going to give things away. And she said he had so much energy, he was hard to keep up with. So it's back to again listening to what your body tells you works for you. Some people, the hospital might be fine, but for my father-in-law, mm-mm. And he actually started healing when he got home. So this is what it's about to when I talk about being great. And that's what elderific is about, right? It's a play on the word, obviously, terrific, but it's elderific that as elders, we still have superpowers to use. What we do is we forget to access them. And what you can do is guide your clients who are elders with simple practices and exercises to be elderific or great. My book shares 12 practices for tapping into those superpowers. And the chapters, they aren't sequential. It's a tool you can use. I designed it so that there's even sections where you can sit after the exercise and write notes in the book. And each chapter ends with an exercise for using the superpower, and that you and your clients, regardless of age, can be great. Now, GREAT is the acronym for superpowers that all of us can use. Are you ready for them? Great. Generosity, relationships, empathy, awareness, and thankfulness. That's what keeps us going. Because generosity does not have to require a huge wealth of money. It can be a pat on the back or a kind word at that exact moment for someone who needs it. It refers to using an open heart to contribute in the moment that makes a difference for you or others. You can put a smile on someone's face. I had it happen very recently. Um, and of all places, a 7-Eleven. The coffee machine, I love my coffee in the morning. I'm pushing on it, nothing's coming out. I finally go to the other machine because they had two coffee machines and get my coffee. And then up beside me, I'm putting the cap on, is a sheriff who's punching on the machine and it's not working. It's not working. Finally, I tell him, well, you need to go to the other machine. And he looks at me kind of funny and goes, oh. I got my eyes real big. I said, oh my gosh, are you going to charge me? Because I told you to use a different, and he started laughing. He was like, no, I like my coffee. I said, so do I, so I can relate. But we had this laugh that we shared. And so we were grateful for each other as well as the machine that worked. Um, so it's finding a way to just enjoy a chuckle for the day. Um, and one of the superpowers that you can use to do that is relationships. And relationships, when you connect with others that build and maintain healthy connections, is what you need to look for. um, so that you grow along with those around you. And as we age, it's being open to growing with those who are younger than us, who are still part of our lives. Um, and elders, because of the life experiences, can use empathy as a superpower. It supports and uplifts because as elders, we've got all kinds of past experiences that we can use to put smiles on the faces of others when they're facing difficulties, because it's a lot easier for us to look at something and go, been there, done that. Okay, try this. So it's sharing knowledge that we gain from experiences and using them as a way to help others avoid costly or even painful mistakes. Another way to use your powers is to tap into that awareness. Enjoy a moment. To truly enjoy a moment often requires awareness, being aware of where you are, what is available, and as the surfers say, what's happening. Elders can be aware of the lessons learned from their past experiences as they step into the moment. So, with that enhanced awareness, we can share the benefits or we can see opportunities right in front of us that others may miss. And that leads to the final superpower used by so many elders, which is thankfulness. You cannot be thankful while acting out of anger or resentment. And that opportunity of being thankful allows you to see opportunities. With an open heart and mind, you can shift your attention and make a conscious choice of how to use your abilities and what you have. Being thankful for what you do have avoids the dwelling on what I don't have or what's not happening, and it keeps you out of the trap of judgments. It allows you to see opportunities and ways to share the superpowers of generosity, relationships, awareness. So at any time, you can take a moment to explore, how do you want to be great? So if you want further information or questions about how to access your superpowers, I can send you a link for the book because it includes the 12 practices for being great. And I can also host a class or give a talk for any gathering that you may be hosting. What I thought we might do is use one of the exercises that I have. Well, first, let me ask, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, Carol, when you mention resentment, anger,
Yes.
how do you deal with that situation?
Very good question.
Because that's I think that, one thing is people that are in good shape still and they keep doing their, daily activities. But when things start falling down health
Right.
wise, how do you, because this is for me a very personal situation that took place with my father that passed already. But,
My sympathies.
when someone is very into that mindset
Yes.
after having a great active life.
Right.
So I would like to talk about that because I think that
Sure.
for most of the people that are aging well, this is not an issue. We're talking about the ones that cannot
Yep.
use that as an opportunity, but many times it's because of the health condition. It's not just the mindset,
Right.
not being able to do many things, having to have a caretaker 24/7. So it's also a change in the lifestyle, in the quality of life, in things that people can no longer do, whether it's talk, enjoy a meal, go for a walk. So maybe I think that discussing those difficult cases, right?
Okay.
How can we support and maybe help, uh, if possible, some changes there?
Yeah, I can give you quite a few examples.
Please.
One of the is because it was a man and he was in ICU. Basically, they told him he didn't have much life left. But I I was working as a chaplain at the time, and I got this call going, "You've got to come up here and up to the ICU." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "You got to get up here." The nurse is yelling at me, "Come up here immediately because the family's coming." And yesterday they were all here and they were throwing things. And everybody's angry, right? So family with all these anger issues. So I hop on the elevator and go up and I'm thinking, well, this is going to be interesting. And I step out into the ICU floor, and here's this man. Obviously, he's propped himself up in the bed, pulled the bed so that he's sitting up, but he's and tears are streaming down his face because he's in such pain. And but you know how families always have these stories where everybody thinks it's funny, right? Because he had three people on one side and three or four on the other. And he was telling this story, and there was all this. And here comes this nurse running up with her syringe to give him morphine, right? And I literally grabbed her and I said, "You can't go in there." And she said, "Why?" I said, "Can't you see he's in pain?" I said, "Yeah, and can't you see what he's doing? With his dying breaths, he's healing his family." That's power. That's a
Mhm.
superpower that man was using to heal his family, regardless of his condition. He was dying. Everybody knew it. And yet he was pulling his family together. So it's taking the time to assess. And he assessed, okay, wait a minute. If I kill this pain, I can't um, help. He made a conscious choice to endure the pain and got everybody laughing. And he, I kid you not, I mean, it was amazing to see. It was an amazing experience to watch. Um, and even like my father-in-law, who now can no longer do all the things that he used to do. He's in a wheelchair and whatever, but he, we so appreciate his presence, right? And he takes the time to smile. And one of the caretakers has adopted him. She and he's adopted her. They have to be together, right? So again, you don't have to have a whole lot um, to share with others. These superpowers that I talked about don't require a lot of physical. It requires an open heart and mind and using both. So it's it's helping someone accept the fact that their body has changed, but then, okay, now with the body that you've got, how do you want to connect? So, regardless of whether your body is falling apart or you can no longer use it the way you used to, or it's totally fit, you still want to connect with joy. You still want to find happiness. And laughter is pretty amazing. It's very, very healing. Even the doctors will tell you, there's all these long Latin names of the stuff that flows from the brain when you truly laugh. um, as a matter of fact, I had a psychiatric nurse one time tell me, well, if you really want to be healthy, you need to laugh 12 times a day. I was like, okay, I'm not sure I can do that, but I'll try. And it's been fun looking for opportunities to see humor, even if it's a small chuckle, because um, I have trees outside my office here, and I'm often laughing at how the squirrels and the magpies fight over who gets what limb of the tree. And I sort of sometimes make up what they're saying to each other, but at any rate, um, I don't know. Does that help you? You're muted.
Yeah. Uh, I understand that. I'm just thinking that my question was how you proceed with someone that
Ah,
is not in a place where, because for those that get it and they are in peace with their situation,
right, right,
we don't have to do much. They
right.
naturally are, in that mindset.
If
I
you
was
have a
talking
okay,
about,
yeah, if you have a relationship with that person, start slowly, um, and connect them with something that they've always enjoyed, whether it's a good book or
Mhm,
even enjoying a cup of tea, and then through that or coffee, whatever their favorite beverage might be, is then actually explain to them how much you're enjoying the opportunity to be in their presence.
mhm.
Um, that and yeah, I mean, you're
Yeah.
saying things that and because it was interesting even recently, despite my father-in-law being the man that he is, when I shared with him how much I enjoyed just his presence, um, and we're doing it on the phone, I could almost see the smile on his face.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, okay. And normally he never calls me, but he called the last time because we organize these family calls. And so again, it's starting with the person where they are and then helping them see any and note, and you might even just notice what's the one thing they enjoy. Not the one thing, but a thing that they enjoy. So it can be a piece of chocolate. It could be, gosh, a friend of mine who passed recently, his was music. So even though he could no longer play the cello, um, to listen to we got really good speakers, and he was like, oh, yeah, okay. So does that help? Because you can go from there then. Because what happened with my friend who had gone, yeah, down into a hole, um, when he realized how much joy he got from, oh, just listening to the music, um, his daughter eventually took him to a orchestra performance, which wow. Um, and yeah, how old was he? At 99, he started walking again, taking walks, because the neighbors so enjoyed seeing him. And he ended up calling me and laughing that because he was when he was this was when he was 101. He was laughing that the neighbor didn't believe his age. He wouldn't believe him. But he did it with his walker and figured out, oh, that was the funny part too. So early when he was depressed, he was like, oh, I can't do anything. I don't want to do anything. And he didn't want to use a walker because it was um, made him look it reminded him of what he couldn't do, right? Or he did do. Um, and so his daughter took him grocery shopping with her, and she had him push the cart. And he called me up because he said, I'm pushing this cart. I was walking better than I had in months. And I even got to going fast and putting things in the cart. Oh my gosh. Ah, I actually, and this is what got us both laughing. He said, I actually thought of stealing a grocery cart. I said, well, I'm glad you didn't. He said, yeah. And that's where he went online and found this walker that actually has a little container that holds things and one that he could sit on when he got tired. He could just sit down. But it's helping people do their own discovery. So that's sort of what despite his being down, she took him out with her to the grocery store and he discovered the grocery cart, which led him to the walker. But yeah, you're right, Mariana. You have to meet them where they are, but then notice where you can guide the direction. So it's the magic question for all of us. Where do I want to place my attention? Because regardless of who the person is, I doubt they want to dwell on all the negative, right? And how I often make people laugh that are dwelling on all the things that they are not. I'll say, well, gee, you're not wearing a purple polka dotted clown outfit and you don't have a big red nose. Aren't you missing that? I mean, if you start out focusing on what you don't have and what you cannot do, you can, it's forever, right? You can't go out in your yard and jump into a SpaceX rocket. So you don't have giraffes in your backyard, or I don't think you do. Right? I don't know.
So it sounds like I'm hearing you say it's about awareness also, helping
Yeah.
people to be more aware of recreating or
Yes.
creating what's
Yes.
good for them. Yes.
Right.
And there's something that I can share. We bought 3.5 acres, built a house almost 3 years ago. Yeah,
Whoa.
but my husband, I hear him say to me, it's almost getting too much. I can't go out and do this, but we can do this. There's always something we can do. So trying to look at that more positive and kind of reframing that negative part to find a way to do just in smaller, maybe smaller time frames.
Or in a different form, in a different way. I mean,
Right.
had a woman that her mantra was she was going to live alone, even though her husband had died. She wanted to live alone. That was her thing. And I guess she had a heart condition and she ended up in the hospital. And then they put her in a facility,
Oh,
and her family encouraged her and put her in a facility. And she finally did, but she wouldn't sell her house. She kept it, thinking, okay, I'll rent it. And the more after she was living in this place for a couple of months, she was like, she she really she was only 70 at the time. And she said she got tired of being the youngest person in the room at times.
hmm.
And people wandering the halls lost. So she moved back into her home, but she moved back with 24-hour home care. And this care agency, she began, of course, she reconnected to her neighbors and she used a walker and she started using all these health aids and slowly began reconnecting to a couple, at least one group. It was one group that she was one of her favorite activities. And so she was still going to some meetings. But she changed her goal from living alone. I'm going to live in my own home with help.
Okay.
That was her new goal.
So, what about I've got a case that I'm dealing with, and I think this could be helpful. 58-year-old gentleman who feels like he's washed up. Okay, he didn't have the greatest life, right? So
Yeah.
now he's on
Yeah.
all kind of meds and he's washed up. So he sees the world in a really raw way. And so helping him, he's a motorcycle guy, okay? There's
Oh,
leather, the whole 9 yards. So
okay.
it's
Well,
kind
he's
of
got lots of
interesting.
opportunities.
Yeah, he does. And he's an iron worker. Where do
Oh,
you find an iron worker these days? Um, but he says he can't do these things
we
anymore.
can't do him anymore because of his physical
Can.
abilities. But what he can share, especially as an elder motorcycle rider, is um, help be willing to go to, I don't know what they are, but I'm sure there's schools out there where he could be a coach to young men wanting to learn how to ride a motorcycle
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
how to, and given his skill set, oh my gosh, he can walk people through verbally how to repair motorcycles.
I love it. Okay.
Okay. So it's connecting with the Harley Davidson riders.
Right.
Connect with
That
them
group.
and they'll give him some opportunities.
Good deal. All right. This has been great.
Oh, good.
I love it.
All right. Okay, well then, I've got in the book some body exercises, but we don't need to do those. They're as simple as just in your seat, experiencing your body. What are you sitting on? Experience through your butt what you're sitting on. Take your hands, put them on your legs and rub. Experience that sensation. Can you hear anything where you're sitting? I'm listening to birds that are chirping outside my window. And I can it's a small whine of the computer. Um, and of course, does anybody have their coffee? You can taste something. What you can do to truly experience something like this, especially coffee, is sometimes I look into it and I think of the farmers who made the beans, grew the beans, made them, grew the beans. And then the folks that made the coffee put it in the containers, wrapped it up. All the drivers that took it to the store. Um, I mean, by the time I go from the farmer to my buying it at the store, I don't know what, hundreds, if not 1,000 people. I'm holding the energy of all that right here in this cup. What a day. Wow. I got to go back out and help. Okay, but the exercise of experiencing the body, this one you can do with your clients, which is sit and have them go through their body. You can go from head to toe or toe to head, but notice the sensations the body is experiencing, and especially if you're experiencing pain. And then notice where is the pain being held in the body, by which muscles. And then do an exercise of visualizing breathing in a cool white light that comes down to your head. And then breathe it to that spot. Breathe loving kindness to that spot or to the tension in the body, even if it's just throughout. And connect to loving kindness. It's flowing in the universe. And so you breathe kindness to pain and the surrounding tissues of that pain. So you may not make it go away, but you can reduce your connection to it. Some get so skilled at it, they literally ignore and are able to sit up and do something simple. And again, activities that redirect the mind are that you can do on a plate. Mariana, are puzzles, crossword games, even board games with a person. Okay. I won't do any other exercises. I think we're done for today, unless you have anything else. Any other questions? Comments?
I was just thinking about this because I'm finding that I'm starting to grieve things that I'm losing.
Yeah,
And um I'm just thinking about the best way because I'm focusing on what I can do, but there is a part of me that's going, okay, so this isn't part of my experience anymore. So how do I let that go and just and I'm not that old, so I'm not really that many things are leaving, but I am the amount of energy that it's taking for
yeah,
me to go walking now is
right,
more than it was, you know.
right,
So there's things that I know that and my eyesight, that was a kind of a big one because I always had just
right.
great eyesight. And then I had to start wearing glasses and I waited like a long time before I started wearing them. But it, I just can't see as well. And so if I want to be able to function, and I
Right.
look at computers a lot, so I need to be able to see. But that idea, I think, is really,
Yeah, it's back to practicing acceptance and taking some time to really explore um, what opportunities are out there that will help you. Um, and also taking a bit of time to remember what you did do. Give yourself a clap, applause for what you accomplished in the past. And gee, and then recognize the energy that you used to make that accomplishment happen. Okay, I'm going to use it now to go forward with whatever debilitation or loss that you have. Okay, it's not dwelling on it to the point of sinking into a hole of depression. Instead, it's okay, gee, yeah, I used to see really well. Oh, now I'm going to use these glasses, and this is what I'm going to spot. I'm looking for whatever in your computer programs. Um, and being so thankful that, my gosh, you can see with glasses.
yeah, my friend's
Okay.
losing her eyesight completely. And so
Yeah, my father-in-law's losing his completely. So,
my friend's only a few years older than me. So
oh, wow.
the idea of, yeah, the idea of not being able to see and trying to figure out how to get around, and she's starting to close herself off and not go out basically
Yeah.
because she doesn't feel safe anymore. So I'm trying to find ways of using some technology and other things that will help her. Well,
Well, and talk to
feel
the
better.
associations for the blind. They'll give you all kinds of tips.
Yeah, I just want her to it to be as smooth a transition as possible because it's scary.
Oh,
I
very.
think I'm more scared. She's handling it better than I am because I'm over there going, "This is horrible," and she's like, "Well, it is, but okay." I
Right.
can't.
And so instead of labeling it as horrible, start shifting your language to, oh, you can't see where to hold a coffee cup. Oh, you can't see to, so like my father-in-law explained to me, well, he can no longer read as well. He wants me to do an audio book.
Right?
But wow, that's actually some young person. I prefer those. And I was like, wow, I guess my father-in-law had a good idea because
I
of
I,
this.
I do audiobooks, yeah.
All right. Okay.
Can I share our story from breakfast the other day?
Okay, sure.
So I wanted to let you guys know because it was really kind of fun. So we were sitting outside and we were at the IHOP and we were sitting outside because I had Roxy with me. And so she was sitting down outside and we're having a conversation and a young girl comes in and sits behind us and they're the only people on this whole patio. It's a good sized patio. But they chose to sit right behind Carol and she was facing me. And she didn't seem like she was paying that much attention to us. She's just kind of looking around and doing her own thing. Um, and Carol left, and she said, "Oh, so." And I said something to her, and just to connect, because she was uh, seemed like she was really open to talking. Turned out she was only 17. And one of the things that Carol and I talked about was the fact that younger people have this conversation because they're afraid of getting older. Uh, and we talked about that being more of a fear of death, but the idea of getting older and what that means to them and those kinds of things. And she said she was really fascinated by our conversation, um, and that when she was watching Carol walk away, she said, I want to be like that when I get older. She said she's so full of joy that I want to be like that, and I want to be filled with joy and happiness and kind of and celebrate. So I just thought that was a really fun thing to say because we were talking about you know being older um, and young people in their 30s, and this girl's 17, just not being sure. Thanks, Mariana. Not being sure what was happening with things and what it was going to look like getting older. So
Let me quickly ask Mary. Oh, well, never mind. I was going to ask
yeah.
Mary another question, but that's okay. Keep going.
No, I think that was it. I just wanted to share that just because I thought it was fun because she was really appreciating your energy and
Yeah.
you know being a young person, she not even close to being in the same generation that we're in. She
And
would be.
passing it on,
Yeah.
on the joy. Yes, because people need it. They are suffering today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dialogue, but and whatever makes you happy, right? One of my favorite insects is dragonflies.
Oh,
Love dragonflies. And so there was one that apparently died recently, so I still have it.
Oh, you kept it.
oh my, look at that.